I want to work a fairly straightforward equilibrium problem to point out a couple of hints and tips. Here we have a chemical reaction given right here. We're given information about the number of moles of each of these, the volume of the container. This is simply a matter of, this is my equilibrium constant. It is the concentration of NO2 squared divided by the concentration of N2O4. And I can just plug in numbers. I can put in 0.6 moles of NO2 over the 2-liter container, and that will be squared, and 0.3 moles of the N2O4 over the 2-liter container. I can plug that in my calculator. I do have to be a little careful plugging it in. I do need to worry about orders of operations and parentheses or not parentheses, that sort of thing. I can actually calculate what's inside the parentheses first, get a value for this, and then write it in the numerator squared, etc. So there are lots of different ways mathematically I can do this. But one way, one tool we can now use in the age of the internet is to use an algebra solver. There is an algebra requirement for Gen Chem 2. You have to be able to do this algebra. But there's no reason why you can't use a tool to help you get that. This is kind of like back in the day when we first introduced calculators. There were teachers who said, no, you can't use a calculator. You have to do it in your head or by hand. Well, now we're like, no, you don't have to use a calculator. You can use an algebra solver. So let me show you one of my favorite algebra solvers, and it's favorite because it's one of the only ones I know. It's mathpapa.com, and it is a free site, although they do have a subscription service. You can pay to get some more features. I have found that the free site is all I need. You do have to be a little careful because sometimes they turn off the feature to be able to see solutions if you haven't paid, if you use too many of them. So just play with it. But here's what I can do. What do I want to calculate? Let me do it this way. Let me open up. All right, let me open up the Math Papa. All right, in big. And then let me bring that screen off to the side. And I'm going to plug this into my algebra calculator. All right, so over here, I'm going to type parentheses. It's going to look pretty much like it looks over on the right. 0.6 divided by 2, parentheses. And to square something, you're going to use a caret. You'll see some examples down below, but I'll use that caret squared. And if you look up above my box, it is writing that formula up above my box, sort of in a format that looks algebraic. So I just put in the divided by sign, and you'll see that up above my box, it has set it up as a numerator and denominator, which is good. So now I'm going to put in parentheses 0.3 divided by 2. And I'm looking at that formula over on the right. And there it is. So 0.6 over 2 squared divided by 0.3 divided by 2. And my answer is 0.6. It is showing my answer up above the box. I also can do a calculate it. And again, there are some steps that might or might not be shown. The answer is 0.6. And so let me go back to this. All right. And so 0.6 is my answer there. This math calculator is going to come in handy as our equations get more and more complicated. So I encourage you to find your favorite algebra calculator. And it might be your calculator. I know calculator have lots of functions nowadays, or apps for calculators have lots of functions. So that may be what you choose to use, but get comfortable with it. And you want to make sure that as you work through these problems, especially the multiple choice ones, you are literally putting these numbers into your calculator or algebra solver and getting the right answer. So make sure you're getting the right answer with whatever you practice with.